All right, welcome back, everybody. HSC Podcast 178. Big Box Steve on the mic. Big Smooth, Fresh Wes, fresh off of the Divisional and NFL, the college football playoff. Still wearing the Bears jersey. One last podcast for the year, and then we'll take it off. Bears, I'm not mad. You never want to see them lose, but I'll take this season compared to what I've been dealing with for the last few years. So not going to complain, right? You can't complain when your team has a chance at the conference championship.
But if they would have made it, we'd be going to Seattle.
That's the only killer, really, right? Because if you're a real Bears fan, like you haven't had a lot of hope. Like there's some years there when it was, first got Justin Fields and you had Eberflus and you're just like, oh my gosh, like this is never going to get better. And
You're
so,
preaching to the choir here, Steve.
well, we'll definitely have time, next podcast have the season to break down, Bears seasons and Raiders seasons.
Oh, we're gonna break down the Raiders season. Is that even like
Well, you also, I mean, you want to talk about their future, right? And what potential is, and you guys got a good draft pick, and you got a good quarterback out there. So who knows, what the future holds. So as people are listening to the podcast, I've got comments and we talk about, our predictions and things that we think are going to happen, and we do a lot of research and we like the sport, but when you think about it, there's a million talking heads out there. So why, should people listen to HSC podcast? What makes us a little bit different or at all? And just before we jump into our picks this week, we're getting a lot more comments, which is great, and I love to hear them. So keep those coming because that's what keeps us in business. That's why we want to hear those. So thinking about that, Derek, why don't you lead us off? What's your take? Just 1 minute on your take on HSC podcast. Why we're not just talking heads, or why we are.
I mean, the big thing is we're unapologetic about what we say. We're not going to sugarcoat. We will say if we're biased or not. We're not going to come out and just be like, oh, Josh Allen is this, but oh, I love this guy better. Unless I say, yeah, I like this guy better because of this. We, we're fans. And that's all you need. We don't care about, we're not corporate. We don't care about you know, we don't make any money. So come on, we're just say what's on our mind.
And hopefully, what's on our mind is good sometimes and right sometimes. What's your take? Last 1 minute on HSC podcast.
well, it's like you sometimes I go out and I talk, go out to the golf course, or I do whatever, and just to get into that mindset of okay, what am what am I going to talk about? And it's different than what the networks, ESPN. It's all production. It's all scripted. You have producers that produce their content, and then yeah, of course they chime in, and this is what we're going to talk about, and um, we're just kind of like the average fan, and we just whatever the topic is, we just talk about it like we're talking about it at a sports bar or the golf course or whatever it is. And it's more organic. It's, there's a lot of things that I've said that I wish I wouldn't have said, but it's, even about Indiana's uniforms, I didn't want to say that their uniforms ugly, but I did. And yeah, it's just, it's more like the average person, and maybe more people can identify with how we operate is it's sometimes it's what they think and sometimes it's not. But then other times it's like, well, maybe they have a different perspective than, the talking heads or even themselves. So,
It's I like the idea of it's a water cooler style talk, right? It's something that you're going to hear in your general conversations and your with your buddies, your sports fans, your friends. Um, yeah, and the other part was, I agree with what Derek's saying too. It's like, we're not apologetic for it. We're not trying to be um diplomatic in our picks. It's definitely this is how we feel, this is what we've seen and what we think is going to happen. What I would say is all both of that encompasses it really well. But also we're fans, but we love watching the game, and we do watch the games probably more than the average fans and understand, and we're students of the game, so we can kind of break down games in a way that maybe ESPN doesn't, and maybe other people you listen to don't. In a more just, hey, this is what we see, this is what we know, and a lot of times, to be honest, we're one of us is always kind of spot on when it comes to what's going to happen. We're never really far off, as a group. So that's kind of nice thing about this, but really just more of if you're an average fan, I think we're good to listen to because we're putting in terms that a lot of average fans can listen to, understand, and then look for, as they go and watch the games or watch their favorite team. So love that about it. And that's HSC Podcast. I want to give us ourselves a quick plug. We've been doing it for a long time. We're getting a lot more views and subscribers and comments. And so keep them coming. Love to hear them. And don't worry about the bad comments. You have those, bring those too. Happy to hear
I love them. I love getting told that I'm an idiot. But hey,
it. But you know what? Sometimes you go 6-0 and and they're like, wait a minute. I should have went with those picks.
and then you
We've
pick a
done
team and the guy, superstar quarterback throws the ball behind himself right before half, has a bunch of turnovers, and it makes you look like an idiot.
Yeah,
dude,
we're gonna get to that here in just a
Derek's
minute,
got
aren't we?
Derek's got a new quarterback for us all hate team.
Yeah. Crying at the podium. Yeah, you got your
Oh,
fired.
dude.
Oh
Oh,
man,
come
come
on.
on,
You
dude.
can't feel
You
bad.
gotta give him a little compassion.
Come
No,
on, dude.
His window's closing.
I
it
almost
is.
cried
And
too.
it's his own dang fault.
Oh,
Hey,
jeez, dude.
there's a lot of stats on it, right? And he's gonna. We don't need to pile on to Josh Allen. He's got enough in the
I'm sure.
social
I'm
media
Oh,
sure
world.
Haley's
boo-hoo,
got it
Josh
under control.
Allen. He's like a rich man who's married to a
Oh, jeez.
famous movie star. Yeah, boo-hoo, Josh Allen.
All right. Well, I'm not going to pile on Josh Allen. You guys feel free because we need to talk about the CFP final. I mean, we brought up the Raiders, Mendoza after that game, real quick. So I don't want to take a lot of time with this, but is Mendoza still on your guys' radar?
Oh,
Yeah.
he's first pick. Yeah, it's a wrap. And he should be. He deserves it. I mean, man, you know, Miami played as well as they could have played, but Mendoza is superior in, processing. He's actually pretty agile. I was pretty impressed by that touchdown run. Yeah.
Not just the agile or the run itself, but the heart at the end.
Yeah.
First of all, that's hard to do for any running back, right? And he's a quarterback. When you get hit like that and you make that spin and that dive, that's not an easy run.
No.
Did you see his arm after the game?
No.
It was all bruised.
Oh,
Yeah.
But that was the thing is like, I think the first or second play, he got, cheap shotted in the face.
Oh.
He was bleeding from the lips, but it didn't, and that's why I'm happy for him to be the Raiders quarterback. It didn't phase him.
No.
You know what? You go back to like the draft day movie and they talk about the quarterback there who got phased when he got hit. Mendoza doesn't care. And he's like a nerd and he just doesn't care. He's like, okay, hit me. I'm just gonna get back up. The only thing about that game I didn't like was the RPOs, if he would, how many times did he fake it and he had like a lot, like they forgot about him.
Right.
He had if they would have just called a play where he kept it.
Well, I imagine they probably watched a lot of game film on that, right? And most likely they saw his tendency was not to keep, and so they were overplaying, the
Right.
give. Which that's just when you look at the two defenses, both defenses played really well. There was no turnovers really until the end, and everybody's like, "Oh, Carson Beck do the game win." It's like the end of the game, last chance. That's not throwing the game away, right? I mean, people are really hammering him pretty
Well, that's what he
Yeah,
does.
it
hard.
that was a bad pick, and that was just a bad throw. I get it. You're trying to make something happen, but we'll go into all the. I guess we'll go into all the conference championship and the decisions. But again, you're down by 4 points. You score a touchdown, you're hoisting the trophy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not always the quarterback's fault. It's also the play calling. You're a little too desperate in those situations, you know. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like what? I get it. That it was not open at all. But you also have to play it a little cooler if you're Cristobal.
Yeah.
Carson Beck is Carson Beck.
You got to give them a pass plays and options that
Yes.
are safer, right? Like
Yes.
you want to make sure when you are making that final drive that you don't turn the ball over and you don't lose your opportunity. And sometimes that means throwing incomplete passes, and moving to the next down if it's not there. But you also don't want to put him in a position where he has to make a decision. Now I'm going to put my receiver one on one because you never know, right? The DB can make the better play.
Well, and I mean, eye test wise, you could tell Miami was way more talented. I mean, Tony Fletcher Jr., they got it and they were gone. But like we said before, Indiana is so much more well coached.
Yep.
And that's why they won. Even though the reason Miami had a chance to win was because of a false start by the
Right.
tackle by Indiana, because the game was over.
And how do you get a punt blocked? Like
Well,
it boggles my mind that you're inside your own 15 and you get a punt blocked. Come on, dude.
you think
What is
about
going
it,
on there?
that's really the difference in the game, right? There's other things you could point to, but the punt block to me is the difference in the game. You look at yardage and time of possession and penalties and off rushing and passing. Miami did just as well, or even run the ball even better than they did. Of course, Fletcher had the big one, which helps their overall average, but it was pretty even game outside of the punt block. You really think about it, that's really the difference in the game.
Well,
Yeah,
that, oh, go Wes. Go
well, it's
Wes.
like this is 1984. Like punts get blocked. Like no, like a punt got blocked. Come
1984.
on, dude. Like really?
Wes is like, they
Well,
haven't blocked a punt since 1984.
I mean, if you look at it though, I noticed in the game, I was like, the first punt, they got really close. And so I'm like, oh, they know that they might get to it.
Yep.
For me, it was how ballsy their offensive play calls were. Like the fourth downs, or like here it's, 3rd and 8, we're going to run the ball. Or, you know what I mean? It's like old school mentality, but it was also like we're going to get this and I'm kicking myself because I wanted to mention the back shoulder fades that they do in the last
Yeah.
podcast, but I didn't. And then, they they did it again, and it's unstoppable.
Yeah, as long as he's on target, and they mix it up a little bit, it really is unstoppable, right? Um, Miami, I think again, their defense did a good job. They didn't create the turnovers, and it wasn't flashy good job, but it was a good job overall, giving their team a chance to win the game. The way Indiana's been playing and outplaying people, Miami could have got blown out, but they didn't want to just roll over and let Indiana walk in and take it. So good game, fun to watch. There was good things and there's bad things from the coaching and from the playing. I think Signetti did a great job, but also showed that his team isn't, bulletproof when it comes to discipline and some of the coaching little things, but also proved that when the chips were on the table, they were going to win the game. But we all kind of figured that, right? I mean, it was definitely closer. I thought Indiana would dominate a little bit more, or have control, not dominate, but have control a little bit more. But Miami, you got to give them kudos.
I mean, Miami had two big plays, and that was about it, though.
Right.
Offense. Their
Yeah,
defense, though.
they were still there. All right. Well, in the college football season, we got a lot of time to talk college football. So we're gonna have transfers, and you're gonna have all kinds of stuff coming up here for college football. So that should be fun throughout as we now wait for the new seasons and colleges first. So take us back to NFL divisional recap. Let's talk that real quick, so that we can give them our conference champions game predictions. I'll just talk real quick Bears, and we can let that one go. um, no, and we don't have to treat it any different, right? It's not a sore spot for me. The Bears had a good season, better than I expected. You're a couple plays away from potentially playing in the NFC Championship. Caleb really got his confidence throughout the year. Maybe too much. Hopefully, they can reel that in a little bit, because he's a little wild sometimes. But he is making the throws and the plays that are downright unbelievable in some cases. I don't know, a lot of people that may not have played football, or even quarterbacks, and so just people who play linebacker or other positions, that throw he makes off his back foot running backwards into the end zone, it's not amazing that he was open and he caught it. It's amazing that he was able to put the ball there. It's not possible. I don't know how physically somebody can do that, and it's impressive. But as you see, he's prone to making mistakes and eventually cost him the game. So it's a growing experience for him. And the Rams are a good team, and they're gonna, have a great game here coming up against Seattle. And you can't take anything away from McVay and Stafford in the year he's having. So good job, Rams. Good luck. Any comments on Rams Bears game?
Well, that throw, that was, and that's the prototypical play where you're like, what are you? Oh, oh my gosh, what was that? That's great. You're probably freaking out,
Yeah,
Steve.
you have a lot of emotions in one play, a lot of different emotions.
Yeah. But yeah,
Well, that takes us over to, let's stay in the NFC. It's not much of a game to talk about, but we might as well. Seahawks, 49ers recap. I mean, we all had the Seahawks. I even said expect a blowout, and it just kind of happened that way. I just don't think the 49ers were matched for the Seahawks, especially in this game at home. Seattle was rested. Yeah, the 49ers got a few guys back, but they also didn't have a few. It doesn't matter. Like, they're just out talented by the Seahawks, I think.
yeah. I feel like outcoached. I'm not a Shanahan fan. Like he does. I mean, I'll say this. Shanahan does great with injured teams, but he never wins the big games. So I think he got outcoached. I think McDonald's a better coach and he's defensive guy. He knows how to beat Shanahan's system.
Well, it was bad on all sides of the ball. I think coaching, on the field, off the field, it was just, they weren't on the same planet. What's your thoughts there, Wes?
Oh, it was a massacre. It was just like it was ugly. Like and they beat up Purdy and they exposed Purdy. Um, he to me is a front runner. He's not someone you have everything has to be set up perfectly. Shanahan and he does it. Shanahan's good at setting up and getting his strengths, you know, and limiting his weaknesses. You can't do that against the Seahawks defense. They just exposed him, and then offensively, well, the way they ran the football, I mean, the Niners, their defense wasn't even there. I mean, they ran all over them. I mean, Darnold didn't even have to do anything. And what's annoying is you watch all the, and when we talk about talking heads the next day, they're like, did Darnold prove that he belongs? It's like, what? He didn't do anything. He didn't do, what did he have to do? I mean, we could have suited some dudes up out there to play quarterback. Let's just hand the ball off to Charbonnet and Walker the third, and they just abused the 49ers defense. So,
Well,
it was impressive, but I'm gauging. I don't know how to feel. They won by a large margin, but I guess you have to call them the favorites now, but I still don't trust Darnold.
Right.
but here's my thing, and this is the common thing in every game, and this is why I'm okay with Darnold. He doesn't do much, but he doesn't turn the ball over like all these other quarterbacks and all these other teams. Every other, all the games, Caleb Williams throwing picks, Josh Allen,
No,
CJ Stroud throwing a million.
well,
You have a defense, you don't make mistakes. I mean, that's what you do.
in the first playoff game, he didn't turn the ball over, but remember, he has turned the ball over 20 times. He has 14 picks and 6 fumbles throughout the season.
4 of them right against the Rams last time, 3 or 4.
Yeah. And he doesn't like playing against the Rams. For some reason, he likes to turn the ball over against the Rams. I'm just saying that was he didn't make mistakes. But we'll see what happens against the Rams.
Well, it's nice when you don't have to worry about making too many mistakes if when your defense is dominating and your run game's solid, right? I mean, there's nothing, and we know football, and we've watched and played a lot of football. There's nothing better than a running game that's solid and moving the ball consistently because it opens everything up, right? That I heard Tom Brady talking about this, which is funny to me when he goes, you got to establish the run. And then he's like, I don't think people really understand what establish the run means anymore. It's not the same as it used to be. You remember old school coaching was like you hammered the run until it worked.
But here's the thing is that was true, and you got in, and the 49ers kind of changed it a little bit, especially under Steve Young. Like, I remember they would come out their first 20 plays, they'd throw the ball all over the place. And then they'd run. They run later. So it's like you can flip that too. Like, you can make them choke on the pass like you used to make them choke on running the ball up the middle, right? Until you can stop it. Like, I remember the 49ers, they'd come out and just throw the ball all over the place. And then they'd run the ball.
Yeah, I think there's a game plan change, right? And there's a significant difference between how they run the ball today, how they throw the ball today. So everything's obviously changed. I still think in today's game, what's missing is that style of, I guess, strategy of I want to use that run to open up my pass. Now you talk about using the pass to open up the run. It goes, both ways now. And I don't know that a lot of coaches are ready for a team that just can come down and run down their throat the whole game.
But the problem is Charbonnet's hurt. He's out for the season.
Yeah, he is now.
The one thing that really killed them is they lost Charbonnet. So it's like, does that will probably affect what they do here against the Rams in a sense. When you lose that power back, the change of pace back from Walker, that really, I think that does kind of hurt them.
Yeah, we'll see how that affects them going into the Rams game for sure. Any final thoughts there, Derek, on that 49ers Seahawks game?
No, I think we covered it all. I think we talked about it.
Well, then why don't you talk about your favorite game of the week, the Bills
No,
and the Broncos?
So let me
Jared.
get started on, am I a Sean McDermott fan? No, I'm not. But he's the scapegoat here. It wasn't his fault Josh Allen decided to just turn the ball over nonstop. I mean, if you watch the game and you don't have like rose-colored glasses on, the Bills should have dominated that game.
Yeah.
But they kept turning the ball over. First it was Cook, and then Allen, and then right before the half, I still don't understand. That was the dumbest play.
He threw the ball backwards.
Yeah, what were you thinking? And that cost them the game. Oh, because you know why? They went into overtime. Oh, what? They would have won by 3.
Right.
Yeah.
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 And then I can't, then
Oh, you got to talk about the catch interception, of course,
yes,
right?
this is
Everybody's talking about it.
ridiculous. It's like, okay, so what is a catch now? If the dude was on the ground. Oh, he wasn't doing his motion. He's on the ground. And then to top it off, I like Jaleel McLaughlin, but he was hand checking Curtis Samuel, or
Oh,
it
on
was
the
Cook.
touchdown pass or the
Well,
attempted touchdown pass where
yeah.
he had to grab his arm.
Oh yeah, that didn't get called. But then 2 ticky-tack foul, like
Right.
pass interferences in overtime get called. And it's just basically then you just basically handed the Broncos the game.
And we've been talking about this for a long time. Like, how many years have we been talking about refs deciding games versus the players, right?
Right. Well, switching back to the college football playoff. Miami was getting away with highway robbery in that game with how many times they were tugging and everything. But you know what? No one talks about it because it was such a good game.
Yeah.
This, you're calling it on like little touch fouls. And and when it causes the outcome of the game to happen, like you basically said, okay, you get the ball to kick a 10-yard field goal.
Okay, so I have this um, thought on this game from, we've been talking heads, we've been talking what's going on, with this around the internet. So I want to get your guys' reaction to this stance, right? So the major stance right now is that even though his knee was down, by NFL rules, he didn't complete the process of the catch, which is why they called it ruled it an interception.
Yeah. I mean,
So what's your guys' take on that?
well,
Well, Richard Sherman, Pro Bowl, All Pro defensive back goes, I've never seen a contested catch like this ever be called anything but a catch. Even as a DB, you know that if it's even a tie, it will go to the wide receiver. And then he goes, can't believe this decided this game.
yeah.
Right.
Well,
He goes to the
That's
runner,
Richard
right?
Sherman's
Shouldn't the
stance.
tie?
But that's Richard Sherman's stance. But the NFL and most of the refs, things like that, they're like the stance they're taking is that he didn't complete the process of the catch.
okay. Let's say that's okay. That's the problem, right? He didn't complete because when you watch it really slow, he had his knee down, but the ball was a little bit. I mean, what was stupid about it is why wouldn't they review it?
That's
Remember,
I don't like that, right?
remember,
They
no,
did.
no,
They
that's the
did a
problem.
fast review. That's why McDermott got
He got pissed.
PO'd.
Right.
He's like, okay, maybe he didn't, but why can't you review it? And that's their problem. That's why it smells funny. It's like, so you're just not going to review it, right? And we're in overtime. Forget about the last 2 minutes. This is like overtime.
Well,
This is deciding the game.
here's the thing. They call it they say they reviewed it because they used the fast review. This is one of those times where not just for the sake of the game and the fans, but just your review system, you should have stopped the game and did a full normal review
Yeah.
with the help of the booth like New York, right? And it should have been stopped 100%. And if you still come out after that and you say he didn't complete the process of catch, it's an interception, at least you avoid this conversation of, oh, it was a fast review. Nobody looked at it. They moved on. Like, you should have stopped the game 100%. Right. So that's a big mistake there on that process.
And for me, the two pass interference were even more egregious.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Bo Nixon's like throwing the ball up like a rainbow, and they're like he's just looking for the interference. He knows he's going to get it. They're calling everything else.
Okay. So talking about the Bills Broncos interception play everybody's looking at, catch or not. There, catch or no catch.
That was a catch. If Devontae Adams was a catch, that's a catch.
That's a catch. All right, Wes, catch or not.
It was a catch.
Yeah, so you both are saying you wouldn't have given the interception. You would have gave
Yeah.
Buffalo the ball right there, down by contact. I think in real time, real motion, you 100% have to do that because they have the ability or they really love the slow motion and they do it. I think that's why they
Well,
they ruled the way they did.
the tie.
I personally would rather see them rule it a catch in the future, and I would have called it a catch as well.
Well, the spirit of the rule is the tie goes to the runner, so the receiver. Excuse me.
Right.
It's been that way for years, and all of a sudden, it's not that way
Well,
anymore.
my thing is that when the knee's down, right, and you have to slow down to frame by frame to try to figure out if he has full control of the ball, that's down, right? Because it's like a runner. If running back's knee goes down and you're ripping at the ball, the first thing they look at is his knee touching and does he have two hands on the ball?
Yeah.
And that's what he did, right? Now, is it perfectly tight gripped, kung fu grip
No.
on the ball? Maybe not, but he still has two hands on the ball, his knees down. That's down.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last game. Geez, we just Houston. Yeah, boy, this is a rough one. uh, Houston, New England. The game was kind of what we thought, right? We talked a lot about this, how you're looking at two pretty good defenses and Houston being one of the best, if not considered the best defense. And you saw it throughout the game. But what's the X factor? I guess not 100% all CJ's fault, but I mean, CJ Stroud turning the ball over.
100% CJ Stroud's fault. Dude had 4 interceptions in the first half. Okay, it's some D'Amico Ryan's fault too, because why was Stroud out there in the second half?
Oh, that's yeah. Here's the thing. It's like back in the day. Can you imagine Bill Parcells being the coach? Like you're done. Like, sorry, you were not. You could sit on the bench the second half, but you know what? We can't hurt the guy's feelings. It's ridiculous, dude. We should four
Well,
interceptions in the first half. And
yeah.
they still have a chance in the game. They just
Well,
need a
they're
quarterback to
completely
come
in
in
that
there
game.
and not throw 4 interceptions.
They were in the game the whole time, even with the 4 interceptions, right? Because their defense was causing turnovers too. So you saw a little bit of that of Drake May getting flustered, making mistakes. And I don't Stafford hasn't had the greatest last few weeks into the season, but Drake May's kind of showing, hey, you're not really MVP material if
Stafford's
you're
old.
yeah. But you got to give it to him. He's old.
Yeah.
Drake May's probably going to win a few later.
Going into this playoffs is like, oh, sweet, no KC and all this. And now it's like the most underwhelming Final Four it could possibly have been.
Good.
It's
Well,
pretty underwhelming.
it,
Well, I mean, speaking of that, let's get into it then. Conference championship, Final Four. Here we go. Last four teams. I wish it was the Final Four. That'd be cool if Final Four was right after this. But we've got the Rams going into Seattle, and we have New England going into Denver. Obviously the big talk around the Denver New England game is no Bo Nix. How comfortable are you with Stidham coming in and winning a game for you?
speaking from experience, not very comfortable.
Yeah, you've seen him a few times as a Raider.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start this one because I just think that that's too big of a loss for you as far as your team, the cohesiveness of your team, the morale of your team, the confidence of your team. Even in Denver, New England's defense is pretty solid. You're talking about, New England, Texans, and Denver having three of the better defenses in the AFC. So it's not like Denver's going to get a pass on playing a good defense here. So you're still playing a tough defense. And without that, I don't know that you can pick. I mean, of course you can pick the Broncos if you want, but I think the Patriots win here, cover the spread, you win by 7. But it'll still be a fairly ugly game because Denver's defense is still good. Right. And Sean Payton is a good coach and he's not going to let it get out of control, but I just don't think they can win it.
Well, you kind of saw the chink in the armor of the Broncos defense with James Cook. If they would have just given them Cook the ball instead of let Josh Allen throw the ball a bunch of times, they would have ran away with that game because Cook was having an amazing game. So I could see Stevenson and Henderson having a huge game. And like you said, without Bo Nix, yeah, I don't think you can, unless Drake May has and turns into CJ Stroud, you got to give it to the Patriots here, sadly. Well, sadly, either way, I hate both.
It doesn't matter. What do you got, Les?
The Patriots should win the game, but I think it's going to be ugly because the Broncos were kind of exposed defensively in a lot of different ways. And I think that gives the Patriots some leeway, and that gives them the advantage in a sense that Drake May, they have enough weapons that they could score 17 to 20 points versus Stidham, which the Patriots defense is playing lights out right now. Like they're getting after everybody. They're forcing turnovers. They're causing havoc. Both their playoff games they played, they're. I mean, they just destroyed Herbert. Like I'm surprised Herbert even survived that game. Like I think they're going to get after Stidham enough to prevent them from scoring 17 points, and that gives the Patriots the edge. I don't think it's going to be easy. I'm not saying the Broncos can't win that game. Everyone's like, "Oh, Stidham this, Stidham that." It's like, I think it's going to be an ugly game. I have to give the edge to the Patriots just because they should win. Like I've heard the talking heads today. Yeah, they're like, if you don't beat Jarrett Stidham, like you went through the whole season and you lose to this guy, you have a problem.
Well, that he's still an NFL caliber quarterback, right? And if you put him in a position where he doesn't have to make a lot of amazing throws, you keep him out of positions to make stupid mistakes with the ball.
Yeah.
You make sure he's throwing on 3-step, 5-step drops to where the pressure can be avoided a little bit, and then you play great defense and run the ball. There's no reason. Yeah, you're right. The Broncos definitely have that strategy to win.
And Sean Payton has the ability to draw up that game plan and to sit him in those situations. I'm not saying it's going to be close, but I have to take the Patriots. Like I just can't.
Well, we're all in agreement then on the Patriots, and
Well, I want the Broncos to win
that's
because I
interesting.
want it
Why?
because I want it like the early 90s Broncos getting annihilated in the Super Bowl.
Oh, you want to see them lose like by 30 or 40?
Yeah, like 55-10.
You want to see the Redskins. You want to see like the old like.
I
I was
mean,
thinking more of the 49ers.
it would be bad. It would be
Massive.
bad seeing Seahawks Broncos rematch because they played. I mean, it was a while ago when Legion
No,
Boom and
you
Peyton
don't want
Manning.
to see that.
Well, either way, you'd get a rematch if the Seahawks are in it.
Oh yeah, well, because then they get to try to come over that lovely call, not giving it to Lynch on the one, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, that's why you listen to HSC podcast for those breakdowns right there. We'll see. We'll put up some shorts. We'll see how right we are, and you guys can all let us know about it. So we're gonna jump into our movie section. So if you're staying on for movies, it'll be right here on the next video. Stick around.